Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Teacher Talk sessions. Teacher Talks 36th. Oh, I'm really excited. It's every week. It's going to be better, and it's going to be a very interesting. Every week we have different teachers, educators, and educational consultants, and so on. So tonight I have a very another special guest, and I would like to introduce him. And I don't want to wait to talk to him. And I'm sure that you are also, willing to listen to him. And so let me introduce to him. And he's educational consultant and regional coordinator from UES, Unlimited Educational Services, Nural Edizsoy. And he is going to be with us tonight. And I'm sure that it's going to be a very educational and very informative session, just like others. And he's here, and and then want to start. Yes. Thank you, Jalen. I'm fine. Yes, there he is. Hello,
Hey,
Nural
hello
hocam.
everyone.
Good
Hello,
evening.
hocam. Good evening, good evening.
It's
How are you?
great to see you.
Thank
I'm
you very
fine.
much.
It's great to see you. And I would like to say thank you to join and accept my invitation to Teacher Talk sessions. And I'm sure that it's going to be a very educational session tonight.
Yeah, you're more than welcome, and it's been a very good pleasure to be with you. I'm at the same time quite sorry to be this late because I'm the 36th. Maybe I would be more quicker than
No,
this, I would say.
it's okay. It's better, better, or the sooner or later. It's okay, not a problem. Finally, you are here and you are with us,
Thank
and
you.
we are really excited. We are excited to listen to you tonight. And if you are ready, and we can start our session.
I'm ready.
Okay, then. Here is the first question. It's very, very, very difficult. Can you tell us about yourself, please, Nural hocam?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bore anyone or make it too long to listen to, but I'll just keep it brief. So I'm Nural Edizsoy. I work for UES, as you have told to our audience, let's say. And I'm originally an English teacher, and I love being an English teacher, and I love what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, and my second major is geography. I need to underline it. I need to highlight it because I love it too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
Great.
Really briefly.
That's it. It's great. It's great. Thank you, Nural hocam. And Nural hocam, also, can you tell us about your, experiences in teaching?
Yeah, actually, my experiences. I mean, how do I say? My experience of teaching starts with Burdur. I love Burdur, by the way.
Wow.
And actually, from the very first moment I got to start the university in Gazi University. I started planning to be at the university, and I wanted to be an instructor from the very first moment. And I was about to finish the university, and I just had this interesting ALES exam, KPDS, the English level
Yes.
test of the government test, let's say. And I just managed to be at the university, and it was fun. And actually, that's the best moments in my life. So I love to be an English teacher, but the best one is to teach at the university. And I have thought about 4 years. Then this publishing business winked at me, and I turned my eyes to the publishing business. But I'm still
I see.
interested, and I'm still in the business of English language teaching.
Okay, thank you, Nural hocam. I think you are very happy at the publishing area.
I'm really happy because
Good.
I haven't taken out my roots from English language teaching, and I'm still in the side of my teaching. I have some private classes, and I'm still interested in finding ways to teach something. But at the same time, we're now improving stuff, improving materials and things. So it is better to be in both sides.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Nural Hocam. And Nural Hocam, this is a question about your experience in own education. So, and the question is like, what was your favorite moment or experience in your own education? I'm sure you have a very interesting moment.
Actually, I have very interesting moments in my life, but the very, very most interesting, I should say, was at the United States, because
Oh,
I've been in the States for a long time, and I had so many experiences in there that changed my life in some ways. But the weirdest one, because I'm really fond of the ones who say the best experience is a good one, but mine is a bad experience, which led me to different things. Actually, it
yeah.
changed my mind from a total perspective change
Mm-hmm.
to a different one. So in the States, we were sharing a house with 11 different people. Quite interestingly, all of them were Turkish.
Oh.
Uh, but mainly work and travel is for practicing your language and stuff. But very
Mm-hmm.
interestingly, in the oddest part of the United States, we were 11 Turkish people sharing two houses, let's say. And one night we planned to have a party at the pool. We wanted to have a feast, a great feast with
Uh-huh.
too much of meat, barbecues and stuff. And we planned to go to Walmart, and our main plan was to buy some meat for the barbecue. And I was like an alpha of the group. I don't know why, but I was in the front desk on so many occasions. And we went to the deli to buy some
I
meat.
see. Uh-huh.
And in that section, we were planning to buy 5 kilos of meat. And I made the calculation, and I was like, I should buy 10 pounds of meat, really, normally. And I just went to the cashier, that deli guy, actually a lady, and she was like, I told them that I want 10 pounds of meat. She was like, sorry. And then I just got a little bit of stress, and I changed my language. I paraphrased my language, and I changed it to, would you mind if I ask you to give me 10 pounds of meat? And she was like, what? And I panicked. I panicked at all. I changed my sentence to a literature level sentence. And she was like, do you speak English to me? I was at the university. I was having my ELT. I was about to be an ELT graduate with a very high, let's say, high level of English. And I
Uh-huh.
couldn't even buy meat from the deli. And that moment, I just panicked and got away from Walmart. And I haven't been there like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
And another moment, I just camped at Walmart to see how people buy meat.
Uh-huh.
And have seen it, and people were like showing their fingers like 2 pieces of meat, 5 pieces of meat. So there was no need for any language, because when you use language, we think language is a requirement and something
Uh-huh.
quite sufficient, but in some cases you don't need any language. So that's the moment I changed my mind. So we need to know the culture. So the culture is quite important. So the scenery, that moment is important. Um, that special things are important. And uh, actually, unofficial language, like informal language, is quite important. So I started teaching at the university, and my first sentence to the students were, please keep an eye on the informal language. The formal language
Mm-hmm.
can be taught anywhere, can be learned anywhere, but not the informal language. To listen to songs, to watch TV shows and everything. So the informal language is always the best way to learn a language.
I see. I see. Quite interesting. but also very useful, I think, for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it
good.
was
It's
fun.
great scenery. No, nice one. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you, Nural Hocam. It's very interesting moment.
yeah.
So, what did you eat at that night?
Actually, we had macaroni, we had some pasta, and we had some cake and some odd stuff, weird stuff. We had sweet beans, which were
I
really,
see.
really bad. I don't know if there are some any American people right here, and I don't know why, but how they eat that sweet bean is still a secret to me. We hated it.
Great one. Except meat, you had lots of things.
Yeah, lots of other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, great. Thank you. It's nice story, Nural Hocam, experience. Okay, Nural Hocam, can I move to next question?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, so I know that maybe most of the audiences know it, maybe some of they don't know it. I already know it that you are working on with educational services. Like, but can you please tell about more about your current business and what kind of things you are doing there?
Okay. Actually, I don't want to be too descriptive because it's too long, because we're unlimited in some ways.
Yeah.
But I work for Unlimited Educational Services, and it is a huge business. But as I told you, I'm still an English teacher. And at the same time, we're now producing stuff, producing materials, producing online resources. And at the same time, we have worldly known publishers like Macmillan, Richmond, Howling,
Hmm.
Black Cat, and so on. And at the same time, we have modern languages too, like French, Italian, German. But our main objective to create is the online platforms. So
Hmm.
online teaching platforms for English, online teaching platforms for German, Spanish, and some of the languages. So our main um, career in unlimited education services is the bonding layer between English teachers and the materials that they will be
Hmm.
using in their classrooms.
I see. Okay, great one. You have lots of useful stuff you are providing, supporting
Yeah.
schools and educators. Great,
So
great.
I mean, in that manner, we have our own name, our own branded materials. So uh,
Mm-hmm.
for the audience, please keep an eye on it. Just chase us, track us. So we're now creating great stuff. So
Wonderful.
sometime you will see us anywhere because we're unlimited.
Great. Thank you. It's great to hear this from you, Nural Hocam. And so, Nural Hocam, as you know that the after the lockdown started, like as a teachers, we all try to search different online platforms and different the digital tools, try to use it. In for you, I mean, like, do you have any suggestions about the usage of digital tools?
So well, it's a huge topic, but really
Mm-hmm.
briefly, the online platforms or digital materials are getting more and more essential to anything, not just education, but for anything in our life. Even we see so many digital tools that um, eases our life, but for education, it shouldn't be the core of it, but it's getting
Mm-hmm.
more and more essential. So we're now having this word for cars at this moment, like
Yeah.
hybrid. But the
Yes.
hybrid word will be in education really, really soon. And this hybrid education will mean really clearly having the online classes and offline in school or in class teaching side by side. So digital tools in a lockdown just got into our life really, really quickly. And for the ones who were not really accustomed to it, were the
Mm-hmm.
ones who lacked teaching or challenged themselves to learn it really
I
quickly
see.
because it was in our hands very suddenly. So we were like, we were the fishes out of the water in some ways.
Yes.
So, but for some teachers who were chasing the new things happening in technology, in
Mm-hmm.
learning and teaching environment, they were quite ready. So this is one of the things for digital tools.
I see.
I mean, for teachers, for example, Kahoot was one of the worst, like 5% known in the ELT business. Now maybe it's 95% for all English language teachers. So everyone learned about Kahoot, everyone learned about Zoom, everyone learned
Yes,
about some
exactly.
other click words.
I see. I see. Different platforms, but we all have to learn them. You're right. Thank you. Thank you, Nural Hocam.
Yeah.
And Nural Hocam, I would like to ask this question: like, what are the properties of better online teaching, and what make it unique?
So better online teaching. We should say best online teaching or better online teaching. They're all the same to me. But what you can do to make it better is maybe a better question. So for a regular lecture that we are all expected to see in an in-class environment, if you do the same thing in online teaching, the students can get bored, they may not listen to you, or maybe they pretend to listen to you, but they will never get it. So
I see.
better
Mhm.
online teaching environment is an environment which uh, just tells your students that you're somewhere in their desk, but not pushing the keys. So you should be a breath away close to your students by tracking them and seeing their progress and chasing what they're doing in their own life, but
I see.
still teaching what you want to teach in a
Mm-hmm.
better way, in a more lively way, in a more appropriate way, because in some of the activities, as we all know, English teachers, we are quite sure that some of the activities may not be done in
I
the
see.
online world, but you can just manage them, or you can just modify them to a degree that all the students can get the same experience in
Mm-hmm.
the online environment.
I see. I see. Thank you very much. Great. So we should provide the same online environment to the students you meet. Thank you. And also, my other question is about extra online digital tools. Now, there are lots of digital tools, and the students sometimes get bored. To use the internet and to do the extra things, as we know that. So, how can we motivate our students to use extra, online digital tools?
Well, in the last 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, for the last 8 years, this
Mm-hmm.
gamification, or making it a more game-like platforms to teach English, or to teach anything actually, is getting more popular. So
I see.
why do we how do we motivate our students to be in something which they don't want to be in,
Mm-hmm.
is to change it in a way that they enjoy it. So that's why we use games in everywhere. So from the very first days of the lockdown, we've seen people buying games, buying
Yeah,
PlayStations, buying Xboxes, and everything, because in a real and normal world without the pandemic, we were allowed to go outside, enjoy our lives, and change our aura in some ways. But after the lockdown, we were just got stuck at home.
I
So
see.
we
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to change our lives, and we wanted to change or add some modifications, some just let's say pepper to our lives, or some taste to our lives. We started playing games. But just remember your childhood. We were playing games, and
I
we
see.
were learning so much stuff with the games that you can still remember that day. So this is one thing. So we, as for my brand, for my company, we started improving games for ELT world. So how to motivate them? Just let them play a game and learn something
Yeah.
throughout the game. That's one thing, because they will never ever forget it, because it's a moment that they enjoyed their lives. So motivation to learn something can be done through games, or so much of need, too much of need, let's say. If you need something too much, it just gets really quick. So
I see.
I can just give an example from my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if our audience or you know about Age of
Of,
Empires, the
of
game.
course.
So
I know it. Yeah.
we were playing Age of Empires all the time in my childhood, like 1998s and 7s and
Mm-hmm.
1999s. So at that time, we were playing with different countries, different civilizations,
Mm-hmm.
and I started talking or speaking Greek, because almost all the time you click something and it gives you some instant feedback, like prostagma, to thank you, or just I'll do, and volume, I'm doing it, or something. So I don't know if it's true for Greek, and it's correct for Greek, but we were learning the same language. We were hearing the same language almost all the
Yeah.
time, and for 2 hours long, 3 hours long games, and the repetitive, and you enjoy it. So that's one thing. That's the crucial bit for the motivation to learn something.
Great one. Yeah. I'm sure that the ones who played that Age of Empires, they learned maybe the
Yeah,
interesting word
we
structures
learned
from them. Yeah.
18 languages, actually. There were 18
Definitely.
civilizations. We were playing that game all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And also, look, Nilgün says, also playing games gives you a purpose to talk, to speak that language. But
Yeah.
especially, you mentioned that when the students playing games, especially, the Fortnite, which is very popular
Yeah.
among among all the students, and not only students, among the adults and lots
Yeah.
of people, popular. And when they play it, and you have a lot of chance to talk with players from other
Yeah.
countries. So in order to communicate to each other, you need to use the language. Otherwise, you lose the game. So it's a great chance to use the language by playing computer games.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, it's great, really great.
So it's not evil. It's not evil to play games, but for educational purposes, there should be some purpose, and there should be in
Yeah,
correlance
of
with
course.
what you're doing in your teaching.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. A lot of also we exchange the language with other students. I mean, with
Yeah.
other people or I don't know, educate, whatever. Like they play it. It's a great one. Anyway, yeah, of course, and a lot of learner even refer to examples from Fortnite. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's a great one. Not only Fortnite, there are lots of games that the people
Yeah.
play to exchange the language. For example, I teach a Turkish words to, for example, a British player or maybe for a German player, and maybe we learn something from them too by playing
Yeah.
that as a purpose of learning the language. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nural Hocam, it's a nice example. It comes out from the Age of Empires to
Yeah.
this Fortnite stuff. Great one. Okay, let's move to other question. All right. Thank you. So, Nural Hocam, is it better to keep the students online just to be educated, or shall we let them alone?
I mean, we should definitely let them alone. Uh, they should have their spare time. They should have their free time. For example, we offer games to teach something. We offer homeworks, or we should say assignments,
Mm-hmm.
for the students. But I mean, just we should um, put ourselves into their shoes. So
Mm-hmm.
if you were a student having hundreds of questions or homeworks, and have no time to do anything else, so does
Mm-hmm.
it sound better, or is it okay to do all of them without even giving a cold shoulder to anything. So it's really difficult. So just to educate them, we may not, or we shouldn't let them sit there and do the exercises and assignments for 10 hours, 11 hours. I've seen so many examples. We had so many parents meetings, and in the parents meetings, unfortunately, most of the parents were saying the students are playing games, having fun, having no teaching at all at the computers. But anything in life can be an education. Anything in life can be fun. So if there's a balance in between, with the free time, the spare time, with the efficient time, the beneficial time, it's okay. But maybe I'm changing, so improvising the question to another side.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe we should ask them to stand up, have fun, jump, or maybe swirl on the floor, or maybe dance before the camp. So even when dancing, they can just change their aura, they can have fun, and at the same time just relax. They can chill a little bit. So I mean, if it's an answer to your question, we should just change it a little bit and put some free time and let them just ease and maybe just jagger around.
Thank you. Thank you, Nural Hocam. My next question, Nural Hocam, is about the course books. And you know that you know that most of the schools then we seems that addicted to the books. But after the lockdown, most of the students couldn't reach their books, and at that time, the teachers had to find or create new materials to teach for their kids. That was a great opportunity for the teachers to define the place of where course books stood in our life. Do you think the course books are essential component of our lessons, and also what is their place in education?
So for main courses, I feel actually I'm in a dilemma with main courses, I should say, because starting from the very early times, like from the first day of the manhood, the humanity, we always needed a Bible to get into a place or to do something, and we always needed a leader, or we always need a written lead to do something. So, but for the modern times now, we may not need that Bible anymore, because the information can be found anywhere really quickly. It's the age of internet and information, so you can find information anywhere, but maybe true or false, it's an information. And yeah, main courses can give you so many information which can be found anywhere. So this is my first side. The other side, still main courses are needed, because think of a chain school, or think of a group of teachers teaching different groups of students, and they may need a pacing for that. So for the pacing and for the activities, which some of the teachers can create by themselves, but some of the other teachers may not, they may need the same kind of material to go parallel with each other. So it helps them in the same track. It helps them give different aspects of teaching, different aspects of learners, different types of learners, different activities, because we learn quite differently, and main courses are mainly focusing on different types of learners. So we have differentiation in all types of components and all types of main courses and some other materials. So main courses help in that way. So one side of my soul tells me that you don't need it. One side tells me you still need it in special cases.
I see. Thank you very much for this answer.
Political
Nural
answer.
Hocam. Yeah, we can say the practical answer. Okay. So, Nural Hocam, my next question is about bilingual teaching. So, do you believe in bilingual teaching, and is it good or evil for you?
Well, again, I should be political in some ways, but not that political from the previous question. I strongly believe in bilingual teaching, like most of us these days, because bilingual teaching is the art which you give the impression to your students that English is not a subject to be taught 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours in class with a single teacher. Because I used to have a private lesson at my university years, and one day I just brought one of my materials to the classroom, and I just tried it actually with that student, and it was all about
Yes.
geography because I love geography. It was all about geography, and we started reading it, and the level was about like A2 B1ish. So, and he read the text, and he was like, "It is talking about geography, but how?" And I said, "Yeah, this text is about geography." And he said a sentence. He told me something which I still cannot forget. She said, "How do English people know about geography? With English." And because he was Turkish, and he always saw that I mean, he's really into geography. He was great about geography, but he doesn't believe in seeing any geography in English, because English is a subject, geography is a subject. So how do they
Yes.
combine? So, and I was like really shocked at all, and have seen it from his eyes that we should teach it. We should teach any subject in English, and not just for the primary language teaching or primary classes. We shouldn't say language teaching with the bilingual thing. And it should be bilingual, because English is a worldly known language now. It's almost like 2 billion people speak English. So our kids, our students should learn about English in different environments. For maths and science, they should see some keywords in English. They should know about stuff. And one of our commenters are writing CLIL. So CLIL is the
I see.
light,
Clear.
we should say light bilingual. It's not just CLIL we're talking about. It is another dimension. It's a deep dimension of giving subjects in English, which helps our students to realize that they can use their own English. Because I was lucky enough to have English classes in my middle school years, and in an Anatolian high school, we were having geography, maths, and science, and everything in English.
Yes.
So even our literature classes, even our PE classes in English, we were quite lucky, I should say. And we were using so many keywords in that. So, and we were automatically writing essays to answer questions in our science classes. We were automatically giving personal speeches in geography classes or social science lessons. So it is automatically developing your language.
Yes.
So I see bilingual teaching is a key to teach English in a very quick way and a better way.
I see. Of course, also, but as you mentioned really the great points about the bilingual teaching, and of course, if it is done in the correct way, it's good, I think.
Yeah.
Someone also told it here. I missed that one, but somebody said it here. If it is done correctly, it's better then. I see.
So we can
Great.
define this correctness in different ways,
Yeah.
but so proper bilingual teaching is another topic which we should be talking like an hour or 2 hours long.
I
But
see.
I don't want to give too much detail about it, but bilingual teaching is should be like 50-50 in some ways, but in some ways it should be 100%, depending on the school, depending on the student levels.
I see. Thank you. Thank you, Nural Hocam. Nural Hocam, my next question is about the webinars. We got a lot of chances attend the webinars, especially during the pandemic period, and still we have. So, but are all these webinars useful for us? And should we attend every webinar that we are called? And how do we choose the most suitable webinar or webinars or seminars or educational sessions for our specific needs?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because when we go to an hospital, we generally look for the place, look for the doctor, which we think we have a problem with. So at first, we would like to analyze ourselves, that what do I need, or what I'm missing, what I'm lacking in my teaching. So how we can define our lacking part, or the problematic stage in our teaching, is that you should try. So a better language teacher, better English teacher, can define or can try and find the ways, or the lacking points of their teaching. So if you can find your lacking points, or what is problematic about your teaching, you should only focus on it. Because if you attend every webinar, you have hundreds of thousands of knowledge and information in your brain, and you can not allocate them to a spot which you can use in the real classroom environment. So it makes it difficult to put everything, every spice that you have from the webinars to your real life teaching. Because on a normal teaching basis, without the pandemic, you have 40 minutes or 50 minutes. You have 15 minutes in that 40 or 50 minutes that you really teach, because of the attention span and everything. So you should just process what you get from the webinars and seminars, and you only apply that cure to your problematic points.
Thank you very much for this useful answer, Nural Hocam. It's very great.
Well,
so I'm sure that after this answer, when we take into consideration to do which one we should attend, we will think about this one. Thank you.
I can just give a little brief here.
Sure.
Almost all publishers are providing seminars and webinars these days. So just look. I recommend our teachers that they look for good names and stuff, but just not look at the names, not just look at the names, but for the subject and that author's or the speaker's background. Because in some cases, we've seen so many these days, unfortunately, some of the speakers are now getting into this online teaching topics, but they have no background with online teaching or digital tools and stuff. So please keep an eye on it. So just a little bit of commercial side. I don't want to get to that side, but Macmillan and Richmond and our own company, UES, is providing so many teacher training camps and teacher training seminars these days. So please take a look at them, and you can find so many of them.
I see. Thank you very much for this information, Nural Hocam. My next question is about Nural Hocam, about language teachers. Like, for you, what are the characteristics of language teachers, effective language teachers?
So effective language teaching starts from being a good listener, or let's say a good student at all. Because if you don't learn from your mistakes, if you don't see what you're missing, you're not a teacher. I mean, for me, being an English teacher, or basically an English teacher, is capable of seeing what their students love or what their students don't like. So if you keep a closer look what your students are enjoying in real time or real life classroom time,
Yes.
and you can see what's happening in the classroom. Or another thing, secondly, I should say, our own English teaching, my own English language teaching times, I was tracking the online talks, the conversations. At that time, there were no Instagram. It was Facebook only. It was the start of Facebook. I was just reading so many things on Facebook. I was just tracking or just chasing games, what our students were playing, or the football matches, which I don't like that much. I'm a Fenerbahce fan, but I'm not fond of it. I'm just seeing them on the news. And I was watching news all the time because when our students get back to the classroom, I was in a mood that I can speak to them in the same language, in the same concept, because they were seeing matches in the evening and they were coming to the classroom at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. So you can just be in the same page with your students. That's one of the key things, because sometimes with the boredom or with too many teaching hours, we may just keep our time to ourselves and not focus on anything else. That's quite normal. But to be in the same page with the students, to have a better speaking activity, better speaking time with your students, you should just see everything around you. So you should be putting your eyes everywhere to see what's happening around you. So this is the most crucial thing. This is the most efficient property of an English teacher or teacher, let's say.
I see. Thank you. And also, I agree at that point that like talking to the same language with the students, even talking about the game that they play, you really grab their attention on you, and even maybe for example, before the start a lesson, if you just talk about do you play, for example, Among Us? So this is really popular game, especially with the kids. If you just say it, and the students, they know that, wow, the teacher knows Among Us. Ooh, we can talk about it. And so it's very great. So let's give a chance with this one. So let's ask questions. Let's join it. Then maybe he knows it. Maybe we can grab some ideas from him, because he knows the game. They think that if he knows the game, probably he plays the game. So it gives a great chance also take your students' attention in also to the lesson and to the you. And you can have a great relation with your students. Even if you don't play it, pretend like you play it. So they don't know it. It doesn't mean that you play it. So they don't know you play it or not. Just pretend you play it. That's it.
Yeah.
I do sometimes. It works,
Yeah, it really works. It really, really works.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nural Hocam. So, can I move to the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So my next question is about the effective rapport, Nural Hocam. So what do you suggest to the teachers to establish an effective rapport with the students? Actually, the example, that I gave you right now about the game is the kind of an answer to this. But what is your idea?
I mean, I was about to tell you the same thing. An effective rapport that we can create in our classroom is almost 100% about communication. So if you communicate the same language, if you share the same background with your students, and if you just improvise, or if you just just be with them in a classroom, not just a
Uh-huh.
visitor to the classroom, like coming and going at your class time or online time. It's not being a teacher. So if you share the same knowledge, if you talk the same, if you speak the same language, if you are communicating with them easily, this is one of the best examples of a good rapport with the students. And at the same time, you should put yourselves to the students' shoes. So
Mm-hmm.
you should have a better empathy with the students. So rapport means empathy to me. So if you empathize yourself to anyone, you can create a good rapport with them. For
I
not just
see.
for students, but for your own life. If you have an
Mm-hmm.
accident, if you have a car crash, and if
Yes.
you don't think about the rest of the uh, traffic, that because you expect to have a traffic jam behind, if you don't have empathy with those guys standing right behind you,
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
can't communicate to any of them. Not in Turkey, but not anywhere in the world.
I see. Thank you.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I got it. I mean, we all got the point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Nural Hocam. Nural Hocam, my next question is about the learning, about learning process. Like, does the learning process actually matter, or is it all about the achievement of outcomes? What do you think?
I mean, I do believe in results or the achievements in
Mm-hmm.
some ways, but for language, it's not even something that you can write on paper, because if you have no process, it doesn't mean anything, because language teaching is a long process, it's a long journey, which is affected by anything around you or the students.
I see.
So if you don't fill up your bucket with the
Mm-hmm.
language, you can't spill it. So
Yes.
you need a process. You need
Mm-hmm.
some time to put them in order, like from the early ELTT learning days, our university times. We
Uh-huh.
have some schnapses, and they need to be filled with knowledge. You have so many blank sheets of knowledge, so you need to
Mm-hmm.
put them in order. You need to create some sketches and everything in your brain, so that you
Yes.
can create or just start to create something. So the process is way more important than the result itself.
I see. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nural Hocam. Nural Hocam, my next question is about the feedback. I'm
Mhm.
like, what tools or ways can we use to give feedback to our students?
Mhm. So for feedback, I mean, feedback is really important, because if you don't give any feedback to anything that someone does, it just loses his or her interest in it, the very first instance that you get. And the second thing is, you can't improve anything without the feedback. And the third thing, you can never get to a point where the learning, the second cycle of learning starts. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you get feedback about something, you you feel the need to change it to a better version. So to be a better version of you, you always need to get that report from others or the feedback from
Yes.
others. For the teaching side, right now, we're now really used to seeing LMS, learning management systems, and so on, from the progress trackers, LMS platforms, the score sheets, and everything. They
Yes.
give you great data about your students. But is it
Mm-hmm.
enough? I mean, is it enough? It is not enough, because only seeing scores or only seeing overall scores or some percentages in the reports
Yes.
are not helping our students at all, because they cannot, they cannot understand, or they cannot value it to change something that they are problematic. So for the reports, teachers, it's a huge burden, it's a huge workload, but we need to give
Yes.
report to anything when we see it, not just negative stuff. It was our times, it was our student times that our teachers were only sharing negative stuff, but the new age, the new era of students are expecting to see good feedback too. I mean, you're
Definitely.
great, you're perfect, you're outstanding. They expect to see it. This is the new generation, but we should underline, we should highlight the things that if there's an improvement, if there's a way to improve it, we should give that feedback too to the students.
I see. It's like, you know, when you give one negative point to your students, probably you can also give 2 or 3 positive sides.
Yeah.
To cover the negative sides of the feedback that you give. Yeah, you need to balance. You better balance your feedback, I think. No?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
I see. Thank you. And Nural Hocam, my next question is about discovering the students' passion or the potential. Like, how do help to our students to discover their potential or the passion?
Yeah. So, from my own experience in my learning days, like in my middle school years or primary school years, we had a chance to create our own environment, or let's say the concept and context at school. Because for sciences, we were going to the lab, and for PE, we were going out. In some schools, unfortunately, I see PE classes are being taken in the school or inside the school building. So, and for even we had traffic classes, and we were going to traffic courses that I don't know, municipalities were designing. So we were having that concept and seeing what it is great for or what it's bad for. So to see the potential for our students, we need to create the required environment. So and they can see if they like it or not. And if they like it, for example, for musics, which is an original answer to this question, or let's say a default answer for this question, for music, you should try almost all the instruments to find the one which you can play easily or which you're really leaning on. So for language or for ELT, let's say in general, if you want to see the potential of your students, let them create something or let them be silent a little bit more, because filling up the bucket, my father always gives that example. If you don't fill your bucket, you can't spill it. So for English, if you want your students to speak or create something, you need to wait a little bit, but you need to give them a chance to improve themselves, chance to be in that one.
Thank you. I see, Nural Hocam. Thank you very much. So my next question is about the future of language education. Nural Hocam, so what do you think about the future of language educations?
Yeah, the future of language education is getting somewhere which English teachers will be kicked off. Kicked out.
Really? I don't.
Because there are so many platforms which anyone, not just students, anyone can learn any language automatically with the help of AI, the artificial intelligence and computer technology. But I'm just joking, actually, because having having a computerized language teaching experience is even bad for us. even speakers of that language can be compromised or can have difficulty or challenged on computer. I mean, for example, voice recognition systems. There was a joke. There was a video about it. An Irish guy getting
Yeah,
to an
it's about this
elevator and
exactly.
trying to go to a floor and couldn't succeed because of the accent difference. So the English language teaching will never be replaced by any computers or any AI machinery, but it will be helped with computers. It will be helped with technology, because
Yes.
in some ways, hearing an accent, hearing, for example, Irish accent, if you want to hear that, if you have wanted to hear that in the past times, in the old times, it was almost impossible. I mean, you should fly to England and go to Ireland and just listen to someone which speaks the correct accent. But now, with a single click, you can see what's happening there, even, not just the language.
Exactly.
You can even see their TV shows online. So
Yes.
technology helps a lot. So technology should be put in a place where it helps us, not just replacing us.
Yeah, that's the point that I was expecting to hear from you. That we're gonna put the technology somewhere, but with us, not
Yeah,
without us. We
yeah,
should be also there.
yeah.
Okay, great. And Nural Hocam, my next question is about 21st century. Like, do you think that the current way of educating educating the children fully prepares them for the needs of 21st century?
Yeah, well, for example, we have so many idioms these days, like global skills, 21st century skills, critical thinking generation, and so on. So you can find different names to it. But uh, from my generation, we had no chance to see some great stuff uh, like these kids nowadays. But let's say the critical thinking, for example, I'll just point one of them, because there are 5 or 6 of them in the UNESCO scale. But for global skills, the critical thinking, which we were doing automatically, because we were trying to solve problems by thinking or by
Mhm.
trying. But unfortunately, with the help of Google, or with the curse of
Yes.
Google, let's say, our students are finding answers really easily or really quickly. So they think life can be solved, or any problem can be solved really easily, with no rush in your brain, with no blood required. So they should find different ways to find a solution to problems. Even
Yeah.
for critical thinking, you should include it to your educational system, not just ELT, for any subject. And there are so many facts that our students are
Mhm.
taken apart from being a global citizen in their real lives. But I mean, global skills are really essential, and nowadays, course books and some other materials are helping us to teach global skills uh, to a degree, not fully, because fully applying global skills to the students are only linked to our teachers. If teacher is
Mhm.
highlighting that skill without even telling the name of it,
Yes.
the students can get it. So the students should be helped with the global skills.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nural Hocam. And I would like to ask you another question, which is related. You mentioned about, you mentioned about the real. I mean, like using the real language with the students. Like, is it possible to teach spoken English in our lessons? To what extent?
I mean, it is essential to me. because I do believe in informal language or real life English. Because I always give the same example. I don't know if my students from 10 years ago, some of my students were in this comments below. I've seen them. I'm just repeating myself, unfortunately, sorry for them. But I give the same example. So when we have a really proper English lesson in a classroom, and we have a really great British accent in a classroom, and we have speaking hours, we have listenings, really great detailed listening, and so on. We have our class, and we just step out of the classroom, and we just get into our cars, turn the ignition key, and turn on the radio. And what's on the radio? A Rihanna song or a Jay-Z song. It is all about informal real life English. So if you can't catch what is being told in the radio, or what's happening around you, or what's playing in a place where you chill, so it's not important. So it's the formal language which builds up your knowledge about the culture, but the informal language which takes you to the real world of English. Even I see from the
I see.
comments that the podcasts, they are great resources, but they should be filtered out a little bit, because so much real life English, so much informal language can lead to no learning at all. Because if you don't catch 5% of a speech at least, you can't understand what's happening or what's the subject of it. So podcasts are really, really useful. And there are so many podcast platforms in Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere that it is all relating to the English language teaching, which are and free at the same time.
Yeah, you're right. They are very useful. Thanks for this information. And also, we can learn lots of new, new words and maybe slang or whatever, the spoken language, whatever, many things. Okay, thank you, Nural Hocam. And also, thank you to Mr. Dolitze for reminding us the podcast.
Yeah, the podcast. Yeah.
Stuff.
Thank you.
And also, okay, only 2 questions left, Nural Hocam. The time flies, Last 2 questions. Okay, and ready for the first one?
Ready.
Okay, great. What does an educated person for you mean for you?
I mean, educated person, as we are all educated person or people, as English teachers, we should be responsive to the outer world. I mean, if you can't respond, or if you can't give response to something happening around you, you're one leap behind. You're just steps back from what's happening behind you or around you. So you should be responsive to changes at the same time, because life changes, everything changes. Everything changed suddenly one night with the pandemic thing. Everything happened at one night with a speech of 20 minutes. So we should be responsive to changes, and we should be loyal to ourselves. I mean, if you are a loyal teacher and loyal to yourself, you just consider yourself as a real English teacher, and you do your best in a classroom. But if not, you just pass time in a classroom, and you're not useful to your students, useful to your school, and not useful to your country. So I'm just really being loyal to my country now. So we should be loyal to our countries too, because our students have a limited time to learn something. We should use it at most. And
you're right.
We should be for the last thing, we should be open to learning. We should learn everything, and we should keep on learning.
Exactly. Someone says, how would they transformative? Yes,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
transformative. Yeah, you're right. And the last question. Ready for the last question, Nural Hocam?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay, the last questions of the Teacher's Talks, 36 stations. And what is your motto?
Yeah, I have so many mottos. Motto should be only one. I'm sure. I know it.
Yeah.
But so my motto is, what the teacher is more than what he teaches. So you should be a role model. You should be what you're expecting from your students. You
Mm-hmm.
should be a good citizen. You should be a global citizen with so many extras, not just a global citizen. And even you should love yourself, you should love your family, you should love animals around you. So you can teach anything to your students.
Yes.
So, but by only being a role model, a good sample for your students,
Mm-hmm.
you're the best teacher for your students. So, what a teacher is more than what he teaches.
Wow, it's very meaningful motto. It's very great. And also, I can't agree more than that one. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nural Hocam. And Nural Hocam, would you add something more before we, the teacher talks session?
I mean, I would like to thank you for organizing this great talks, because we've seen so many familiar faces and we've seen so many different faces that we, unfortunate enough, that we haven't seen them before. And it's been great fun to get into this
Yeah.
and share our ideas. And it's been great with your smiling face all the time. And we shared some great time.
Thank you.
So, and for the commenters and the audience, the visitors, and everyone, just thank you, all of you. And I mean, just like to tell you much.
Okay. Thank you. And also, finally, I would like to say also one more time thank you to accepting my invitation to join this teacher talks session. And thank you very much for your time, your ideas, your suggestions, your advices, and whatever. And you were with us here tonight, and I really enjoyed it. And I, learned many interesting ideas from you, Nural Hocam. And I'm sure that the listeners, and as you said, the visitors or the audiences and who attends every Monday, they know it. They are here. Thank you very much also from all around the world. They come and they never leave us alone. Thank you very much. And also, that's all for now. And I would like to also say thank you then one more time. And you are great. You are all great. We are all educators. And we should always up to date ourselves and never stop learning and never stop teaching. If we stop
Yeah.
teaching, if we stop learning, we stop teaching. That's what I want to say also. Thank you very much one more time, and good evening, everybody, and good afternoon where you are, and good morning, and good night, and see you at the next Teacher Talk sessions on Monday, same time, same day, and that's all for now. Peace on you, everybody. Take care of
Yeah.
yourself. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Good evening. Bye bye.
Bye. Good
Cheers. Bye.
evening. Bye.